Today, let's talk about what happens if you are an established expert, but you are new to video marketing. I have these discussions all the time with the world's most smartest people who are absolute authorities in their field. They've written countless books, they've given talks, they host master classes and retreats, and they're worried when it comes to making video content because it still feels a little bit out of their comfort zone. Now, if this is something that you're feeling or experiencing, I wanted to tell you that it is absolutely okay to feel like that, and it's not your fault, essentially. Just because you're so good at one thing does not mean you have to be also automatically good at this new thing. And for most of us, sitting down and talking to an inanimate object is a little bit foreign, especially if you're the kind of person who gets a lot of energy with the interaction you actually have with the people in front of you. This is almost the exact opposite of that, right? But with that said, there are a couple of deeper things that happen that prevent you from actually putting yourself out there. And I wanted to share with you what those are, and then hopefully give you some solutions so that you can reframe the way you show up on camera and you get really excited to do it again. Now, the first problem here is ego. I recently heard a saying that said, ego is not your amigo, and I was like, that's right, because our ego is something that we almost have inside of us as a facade to keep us protected. Right? It's this mask that we put on to be perceived a certain way. So when you are an established authority in your field and you have all the accolades, it's so easy to have that ego inside of you wanting to keep you safe. Ultimately comes from fear of being truly seen and comes from the fear of not being quite good enough potentially in front of the camera. Because after all, like, you have all of these accolades, you're very smart, but who are you to not be great in front of the camera? And then the ego flares up thinking, yeah, I'm not very good. I don't want other people to see that I'm not good. Therefore, I'm going to keep myself safe by not putting myself out there. The second thing is in relation to that, overthinking what you're going to be saying in your videos because you don't want to be misunderstood. How many times do you find yourself trying to find like the perfect word, the perfect sentence, said in the perfectly right order so that when you sit down to make the video, you know it's going to be absolutely how you envisioned it. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I definitely take my time to outline what I'm gonna say, so I'm being intentional with the use of my words. But you know when you take this a little bit too far, when you are overdwelling on what you should be saying, because ultimately you have that fear coming up again of other people's judgment. What if I say something in the wrong way that's going to rub someone the wrong way, that's going to get me canceled? Essentially, these days, I think that's what most of us worry about, because being canceled, what does that mean? That means being separated from a community, being separated from a group where you feel that strong sense of belonging, and ultimately no one wants to be left out. Because in our primitive days, what would happen when you were left out? The lion would come get ya, right? So we want to feel that sense of belonging, and that's why sometimes we overthink what we should say in our videos, and when it's not quite enough, we don't end up saying anything at all because we are afraid of being canceled. On that note, I want to start to provide some solutions here, right? So we have our ego, we are afraid, yeah, well, so what? Number one, it's okay to be a beginner at something like video marketing or putting yourself out there in this new media format that you might not be used to. And there's going to be a learning curve associated with that. And that's so normal. And if you're watching this, I know that you probably have a growth mindset and you want to be better with your video marketing, hence why you click this video to watch it. So I know that there's that willingness to learn inside of you. So I want you to approach this as if you're a kid just learning to crawl, just learning to walk, one single step at a time. Most importantly, try to find ways to have fun with it so that you see this as an experiment, but not as this perfect thing that you must get right out of the gate. So that's tip number one, to deal with the ego side of things. The second side of the equation is normalizing that to get something up and running, it takes a lot of energy to get to that new baseline. So what do I mean by that? Imagine yourself climbing up a mountain and you have a very, very heavy rock that you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing. Your hands are shaking. There's a lot of resistance. It's very hard. When you're starting video marketing, it's a little bit like that. You have to do twice the amount of work to get to that new level of baseline, which then will be your top of the mountain. Once you are there at the top of the mountain and you start to go downhill, you turn that beautiful potential energy into kinetic energy. You have that momentum in your favor, and you will notice that things will start to feel much lighter, much more fun, because you've done that extra groundwork to get yourself up there. Another thing I want to say here is people who come to watch your videos will be coming with their own biases, with their own thoughts, with their own experience of life. So when you think about that, it's actually kind of comforting to know that not everyone's going to agree with you, because you cannot control the past people have been through, right? Once you kind of internalize that and be okay with the fact that it's all right for you to not be liked by everyone and not be accepted by everyone, showing up and putting yourself out there becomes much more fun and much more simple. Think about the last time you were watching a video on social media, maybe on YouTube or somewhere else. I'm pretty sure there were moments that you disagreed with the presenter, right? And that's exactly what's going to happen with you when you start to make your own video content. You're going to have a viewer who might watch you but not fully agree with everything that you say. Those people who need to hear from you, who will resonate with your message, imagine how much of a disservice you're doing to those groups of people by not showing up and by not creating videos. So on this note, I hope that these are some helpful tips for you to take on board as you're working on showing up on video and getting confident and sharing your message with the world. Next time being on video feels a little bit daunting and you're feeling a little bit of discomfort, I want you to ask yourself this question. Would the temporary discomfort of being in front of the camera, is that worth sharing my message with those who need it? Until the next time, don't forget to stay awesome. And for knowing for sure whether your YouTube channel is going to be a success or not, don't forget to click this video that's coming up on your screen right now, and I will see you over there. Bye-bye.